Ray started powerlifting when he was studying at university. Within 3 years, he was ranked the best junior lifter in Australia over all weight divisions, and he went on to break the Australian junior records for the squat, deadlift and total in the 60 kilogram weight division. He competed at 2 World Junior Championships and won the Open Australian Powerlifting Championships before retiring. So after 9 years in retirement, he started lifting again and to his surprise had a rapid comeback in strength and won the Australian Championship in 2009, breaking the total record by 2.5 kilograms. Then again in 2010, adding another 20 kilograms to his total record. So yeah, look, I've seen Ray speak before and it was absolutely awesome and very, very inspiring. So please welcome up Ray Hope.
Thanks, Laura. Who was expecting somebody bigger? Now, today's talk is going to be about courage, but it's also going to be about something much bigger than that. And the video clip I'm going to show you today is actually all the lifts that I missed at my last competition. And the reason for that is that courage lies outside of our comfort zone. And sometimes when we're pushing the edge, sometimes we don't quite make it. But that's how we find out where that edge actually is. Yes, this is the squat. What I want you to notice is actually the 5 guys that are standing around me. They're ready to catch me if anything goes wrong. This is a bench press, and again, on either side, there's a guy there ready to catch the bar if anything goes wrong. This is my favourite, the deadlift, 260 kilograms. And here there's nobody around because basically there's not much way you can hurt yourself in the deadlift, and that's why it was my favourite lift. I could train as hard as I wanted in the gym, there's no fear. Okay, so for me, the lift that took the most courage was the squat, because I don't know about you, but when I took that 225 kilograms off the bar, off the rack, and tried to actually step backwards and balance, my body was going, what the hell are you thinking? You're going to try and squat this? But because I had those 5 guys there ready to catch me if anything went wrong, that gave me the extra courage that I needed just to go for it and give it a go. And that's what I love about this environment here. You know, there's so many people here that are here to help us, to support us, to encourage us. And if we do fall off the wagon, then we give them a call and they help us back up again. Now, the other thing is that I realise that we actually have to do the work ourselves. Now, if I was at the gym and every single training session these guys were lifting the weights for me, you know, I wouldn't grow at all, I wouldn't get any stronger. And it's the same thing here. Now, although we have such wonderful support and it's such a valuable resource to have this, we still have to actually do the work ourselves if we want to get the benefits. And when it comes to actually doing that work, we often find in life that it's actually the last 10%, that critical 10% that makes all the difference. That's where the growth occurs. When I was training in powerlifting, we call it progressive overload, which basically meant that the last rep of every set was basically almost to failure. You were trying to make that last rep a real struggle, and if it wasn't, you do another rep, or put a little bit more on the bar, because that's where the growth occurred. You know, if I wasn't pushing myself, if I wasn't struggling through that last rep, I wasn't going to grow. I could stay within my comfort zone. And like the other area of that was leading up to a competition. It was always, you know, I'd have like a 12-week training cycle, and the last 2 weeks were always the toughest. You know. There were times where the pain in my elbows in that last week was just so intense that my mind would be going, what the hell are you doing? Why are you doing this? Is this really worth it? But knowing that it was that close and all I had to do was that one last week of training and I could do it, you know, that's what made the difference. And I put this clip up here, or this picture of the on the rock, because recently I went indoor rock climbing with some friends, and I learned the same lesson again. The first one I picked quite a challenging wall for me. It was about 18 metres high. And it was quite easy the first few metres, and then it got a little bit harder and a little bit harder. And I was about 2 metres from the top, and my arms, my forearms were just killing me, and my body just wanted to give up. There was this little voice in my head that went, "Yeah, but Ray, it's only 2 metres away. You can do it, come on." So I took a little break, and again, I knew I had my friend below on the rope laying me, so if anything went wrong, he'd catch me. Took a break, took my hands, and went for it. And I was so glad that I did, because it was just, worth it, just for my own knowledge that just going for it's what makes the difference. And it's the same with anything in life. It's that last little 10%, the struggle that actually causes us to grow and evolve. As I was preparing for this talk, I was reading a book called Blue Truth. And in that book it had this line that said, "Destiny hides beneath fear." That intrigued me. It went on to say, "Few men or women live their true destiny. Most follow a path bent by fear. You are deeper than your life shows. You are more loving than your relationships allow, more brilliant than your career suggests, and you know it." And that got my attention, because for the last few years I've really been trying to figure out what on earth my purpose on this planet is. Why am I here? Been doing all sorts of workshops, doing lots of yoga, tantra, meditation retreats. Been to 4, 5-day and a 10-day silent meditation retreat, trying to find out why am I here, and that's the question I've been asking. What is my purpose? And despite all that, despite all my achievements in life and creating what most people would consider a fairly successful and comfortable life, at the start of this year I was feeling rather empty and unfulfilled, and getting even more frustrated. And halfway through the year, Hercules here invited me along to a weekend seminar, very similar to the one that's coming up in 2 weeks' time. And at that seminar I was sitting there and I got an inkling of something that I knew I had to do, but it seemed so far out of my comfort zone. And after the seminar, I sat down with Hercules and I said, "Look, I have no idea what I want to do with my life right now. That has to be on the top of the list of the things I don't want to do." And Hercules said, "Why is that?" And I said, "Because I'm afraid." And Hercules said, "Well, that's why you have to do it." And I laughed and went, "Yeah, I knew you were going to say that." So, here I am. And the funny thing is, that I feel way more fulfilled here, lifting you people and helping inspire you than I ever have doing anything else. Now this might sound a bit strange for courage, but this lending library here has a CD series by Skip Ross. And it's called the Dynamic Living series, and I love that series. I must have listened to it 20 or 30 times. And in that, he says, "There is no fear in love. Perfect love casts out fear." And that got me thinking. It was one of the scariest moments in my life. Like, who here has children? Have a brother, sister, mother, father? Someone that you love unconditionally. Now, if their life was in danger, how much courage would you need to muster? I was down at the Gold Coast a few years ago with a friend, and she has 2 young sons. They were 8 and 10. And I'd been looking after them. We were playing in the surf for about an hour. We were just having the ball. But at one point, they both went out a little bit further, and they probably should have, and they got caught in the rip at the same time. But it didn't take any mustering of any courage. It was just an instantaneous, I know what I have to do, and just go and do it. And it's in those moments that when we know what really has to be done, in any given moment, when we just do it. But I was wondering, well, how in the rest of our lives, when we don't have that urgent motivation to do what we know needs to be done, how can we lead ourselves in the right path. And I think I got an insight into that from John Maxwell, who's renowned for his teachings on leadership. And he has a saying that leaders should love, listen, learn, and lead. Now, to apply this to ourselves, I thought, well, before I learn to lead anybody else, I have to lead myself. So it started with learning to love myself. Now I know a lot of us sort of say, yeah, I know I should love myself. Well, I know that too. But just knowing it didn't do me any good. Because there were still parts of myself that I didn't really love. Now, in the recent death of Whitney Houston sort of really highlighted that to me. I mean, like, she's famous for her song, "The greatest love of all is, learning to love yourself. It's inside of you." But when you see the clips of what her, recent life was like, it's like, well, she knew it, she was singing about it, but she wasn't really living it. So, although we may know the truth, it's living the truth that makes all the difference. So the next step was listen. This is my dad playing the guitar. Listen to the music. Listen to the music inside of us. And then I heard, when you listen to your heart, and I was thinking, Roxette, is my talk turning into a series of 80s pop song cliches? But that's what I had to do. It's like, just forget all the crap and crazy stuff that's going on in my head and just listen to the inner voice inside as to what's really important to me and what really motivates me. And in doing that, I started to learn. And I learned what my heart really longed for. I learned what actually brings me joy. I started to learn what I'm actually here to really do, and what my gift is to actually give to the world. And one of the things that I learned was I love giving these talks, as I said before. I love lifting people way more than I ever did lifting weights. So then I had to lead myself, to take a leap of faith, like I used to do when I was a kid. To start giving my gift, even if sometimes it's a little bit scary, and sometimes people don't see the gift. I want to leave you today with a quote that I have on a banner on my wall at home on courage, and it says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Thank you.